There was like 26 kids in the class this year. This is unacceptable. The education system in Germany is awful. It feels so weird getting back in front of the camera again. I don't even know what to say, but it's back to school season and I figured now would be a good time to get back to YouTube. I am still in Canada. We are visiting my mom right now in the beautiful Prince Edward County. And much like in Germany, people around here are getting ready for the back to school season. Some people in Germany are already back to school. I figured you guys might be interested what it might be like for Canadians on their first day of school too. I know it's not always that exciting to start up school again, but there is always that one little something that got me excited to go back. I'd love to know what your little things might be, but for me, one day of the year, about a week to 2 weeks before school began, my mom would give us $100 each to go and buy a backpack, pants, shoes, shirt, the whole wardrobe. $100 might not get you very far anymore, but that was definitely my fond memory of the back to school season, being able to wear my brand new getup on my first day of school. So the first day of school in Germany in grade 1 is a very, very special one. You typically receive a Schultüte. It's like a cone full of goodies and maybe school supplies and maybe a few treats. Whatever your parents decide to stuff your Schultüte with, that will be stuffed inside this cute little cone right here. You can buy them pre-made, you can make them yourselves, you can make them with your kids. It's totally up to you. This tradition basically marks the first day of their real education journey and ease them into the new environment. So the first day is usually a little exciting. Sometimes the older kids do performances and presentations for the younger kids. After school, you might have a party with friends and family to celebrate your new journey. There are a ton of things that I'm really excited to talk about that you guys might find also super interesting. How do we dress on our first day of school? I also want to talk about how German kids get to school on public transit. We also eat differently. But before we talk about back to school for the little ones, let's focus on you and your fresh start too. Our long-term sponsor, Lingoda, wants to help you guys this August jumpstart your language learning by gifting you with a 2-month discount of up to 200 euros on group class packages, or you can save even more if you're doing private classes. Because they're our long-term sponsor, a lot of you already know who Lingoda is, so I will go ahead, leave that code for that 200 euro discount down below here. Jenna25, I will also include all of this information and the link in the description below. And this gives you 25% off your first 2 months of subscription. Plus, don't forget, if you don't know, they do have a 7-day free trial, so I would recommend taking the free trial first, see if you like it, and then you can use the discount on your subscription moving forward. So if you haven't heard of Lingoda before, here is the spiel. I totally should have put that word in our last video that we did about German words that we use in English. Go check that one out too. It's a funny one. But anyway, here's the lowdown. Classes are available 24/7. They are online on Zoom, always 60 minutes long, and you usually have between 3 to 5 students in your class with you as well. You can learn anytime, anywhere, really 24/7. There are qualified native speaking teachers all over the world speaking and teaching German, so you don't have to worry about not having time for it. Their German and English classes are actually offered from A1 all the way to C1, which is awesome. But don't forget, they also have Spanish, French, and business English, which they offer from A1 to B2. And if you're wondering what that means or what level you actually might be at in this current moment, I will include a link to a free placement test down below as well. You can just take that test and then at the end, you'll know exactly what level you should be headed on into. Just like many children when they start their first day of school, I am also extremely nervous when learning a new language. But if there's one thing that I have to say about Lingoda, it's that I've always felt super comfortable being in these small class sizes. You can even turn your video off if you're not comfortable showing your face and just interact with the audio. They are really, honestly, truly flexible. All of the teachers that I've had are super, super kind. So you should try Lingoda yourself. Again, you've got the 7-day free trial. Link is down below, and you can receive up to 200 euros off your next 2 months of language learning with Lingoda. They're blue light glasses, but I'm not really looking at a screen right now, so I don't really need them. And it is summer, so I'm very warm. Anyway, how do you dress in Germany versus Canada on your first day of school? Well, the first day of school, it's always exciting to dress your best and wear your brand new outfit like I had mentioned before. But one thing is for sure, I find it very, very interesting how strict and regulated the dress codes are here in Germany. We have here in Canada public and Catholic schools. In Catholic schools, of course, you have to wear your uniform. There is also dress code of how short the skirt can be. This is an absolute no-go. As far as I'm concerned, it's still a no-go in all schools around Ontario at least. I was listening to the news a few months ago in Germany, and there was this huge argument about whether or not kids can wear leisure wear like sweatpants or yoga pants to school because they're banning it in a number of schools and states around Germany. And I was like flabbergasted. I was like, how can you ban wearing yoga pants? Like everybody wears them. Not in Germany. We all wear them in Canada. Exam season, you are not going to get me out of my sweatpants. Like I am going to live in sweatpants. I don't really personally find it fair. You guys can let me know in the comment section, because in this radio segment that I listened to, there were so many arguments for and against whether or not kids should be able to wear this leisure wear in school. I just can't fathom wearing jeans all day sitting in plastic uncomfortable chairs. These kind of rules we don't have in Canada. Not to mention, on top of that, we actually sometimes call our teachers by their first names. The older you get, the more likely it is that it's going to be okay. High school and university and college especially. But in Germany there is a very strict rule. It is Frau or Herr. Like you do not walk away from those rules. How do you get to school? In Germany, it is shocking the number of kids and the number of students that take public transport to school. You've all heard of, you know, like the big yellow school bus that we take in North America. That is very, very common here. I've never heard of it not being the case. Even if you live in a small county, there is usually a small yellow bus that will pick you up and take you to school. In Germany, it is very common to have this Schokoticket, which is actually going to be changed into the Student Germany ticket. I'm not sure exactly how it's called, but if you're interested, I will link that down below too. Anyway, it's very common in Germany to either walk or bike or take your roller, which we call scooter, to school. In Canada, you either get a drive from your parents, you take the school bus, or you walk. When I tell people the point about the public transport though, in Canada, people are like, how can you send your child on a public bus or a public tram and just like let them out the door and do their thing at the age of 6? That is terrifying. But people in Germany often argue that there are too many helicopter parents out there right now. Even in my district, my neighborhood specifically, they wanted to build a kiss and ride at the Grundschule here 2 doors down from me. And everybody was just like, why do we need a kiss and ride? How spoiled are these children today that they actually can't just walk themselves to school or take their own bike? The definition of safety for many people is very different in Canada and in Germany. It does make me a little nervous knowing that after Grundschule, my son is going to have to take about 35 minutes of public transportation to get to his school. He will be 10 years old, and even in my mind I'm like, that's too young. But you know what, that's the way it goes in Germany. So far I haven't heard many bad things about sending your kids with their friends to school, so I think everything's gonna be all right. What time do we go to school? Actually, the start time is relatively similar in both countries, starting somewhere between 7:30 in the morning and 9 a.m. I believe I started at 8:45 in Grundschule, and then in high school I think it was 8:05. But what I've always found super interesting is the pickup time. So in Germany you have 2 different pickup times. You can do the Ganztagsschule, which you get picked up super late, or the normal school day, which could end somewhere between 12 and 2 p.m. Like I can't even imagine sending my kid to school at 7:30 and then being home by like 12:15. How am I supposed to get any work done? I freaked when I first found out about this, and I was like, why did nobody tell me this before I moved to Germany? I'm gonna be working full time. Like I can't take care of my kids for the whole day. That sounds so privileged, which it's not privileged. I need to work. I need to get my work done, and then you have to pay for what? A babysitter on top if you don't have Ganztagsschule? I'm really happy though that this Ganztagsschule, I don't know about where you are in Germany, if you are living in Germany or not, how people view it in your area, but where I'm living in Düsseldorf, a lot of the time way back when, people were calling you a Rabenmutter if you would send your kid to this Ganztagsschule until 4 p.m. It's like, you're awful mom. Like, how could you do that to your child? Whereas now it's actually the opposite. A lot of kids make best friends in this Ganztagsschule because after the actual curriculum that goes until 12 or 2 p.m., you then have extracurriculars. So you can choose sports or archery or dog training or whatever. Some schools are more creative and offer more opportunity, others do not. But all in all, I think it's a really neat idea. Not to mention there's a big bonus with Ganztagsschule, and that is that most of them offer catering. So you do not even have to make a lunch for your kid. So let's talk about lunchtime. The biggest difference is that in Germany, we have something called Abendbrot, which basically gets every mother and father off the hook for having to make a warm meal in the evening. And if your school is catered to, your child is pretty likely going to get a warm meal for lunch. So not only do I not have to pack a lunch for school for my son, I don't even have to make proper dinner as we do in Canada. I think making a lunch is still not uncommon in Germany. Not all are catered to, and those who are staying in school until 12 to 2 p.m. will typically go home for a warm meal after school. But besides the warm and cold lunch, I would also have to say that if you are provided a meal by the school in Germany, you are 100% of the time going to get a much healthier meal than you will in Canada. We have cafeterias in our high schools a lot of the time, and you can get stuff like French fries and pizza and sandwiches and salads, but what kid is gonna choose a salad over a massive plate of pizza and fries? What about recess or the Pause in German? It's pretty much the same, no matter where you go. It's just a good way to encourage kids to get out, do some physical activity, and socialize. Another interesting one is classes. The size of the classes. In Canada, the average class size is about 26 students. In Quebec, it usually goes up to about 30, and Saskatchewan is actually the lowest, around 22 students. In Germany, there is actually an average of about 21 students, and this is what I found really interesting because I've heard a number of times moms and dads complaining about the class size. They would be like, there was like 26 kids in the class this year, like 27, 28 kids in the class this year. This is unacceptable. The education system in Germany is awful. I think 27 kids is normal, but I grew up with about 27 kids in my class, so after school in Canada, we have a lot of extracurricular activities actually built into the school program. So you will play against different schools, track and field, football, soccer, field hockey, lacrosse. There are so many different opportunities for school sports that I absolutely adore in Canada. Germany is lacking that, unfortunately, so the parents are usually in charge of having any extracurricular activities in different sports clubs around the city for their children after school. And I guess we have to end it with homework. Surprisingly, Germany actually does not offer that much homework. In Canada, you can be crushed by homework. I have spent nights and nights not being able to watch TV because I had so much homework to do from school. Of course, the level of homework varies depending on your grade level, but I would say generally speaking, Germany believes that education should be done within the school walls. You will only get a little bit of homework or an assignment here and there typically. In Canada, there is a lot more. Anyway, happy back to school season. Let me know what you guys were always the most excited for going back to school. Vielen lieben Dank. I am so happy to be back on YouTube filming. If you have more video ideas, do let me know. Otherwise, vielen lieben Dank und bis später.